Welcome to Passioneer Magazine, the podcast, where you'll hear inspirational stories, encouraging news, and in-depth interviews with authors, influencers, CEOs, and thought leaders. Passioneer Magazine, the podcast. Bold ideas, brave pursuits, boundless inspiration. Hello, hello, hello. Thank you, April, so much for joining me here on Passioneer Magazine, the podcast. We're happy to have you.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, I realize that people are familiar with you and your brand across the world. Why do I say that? Because you have been featured on Forbes, Inc. 500, Fox News, News Nation, and Bravo Channel, of course. And many know you from the Real Housewives franchise. Love the show, by the way. So, thank you so much for not only being the person that you are, but really making sure that your brand gets out there because you're doing something different. Now, before we get into that, can you tell us just a little bit about yourself? What makes you you?
Well, I guess I have always been someone that just marches to the beat of their own drum, and I just very independent. And so, like when I came up with Luma, I just created it from scratch. I never worked for another matchmaking company, and I was always just being. I was a matchmaker, just naturally in my own like social network. And whenever I meet someone, I'm like, oh, you should know this person. And like just yesterday, I introduced two doctors because I thought they had complementary practices and they should know each other and probably could refer each other. So, and not that there was nothing, of course, romantic there, but it's just, having that mindset for connections because I think connections are one of the most important things, our relationships. They're one of the most important things in our lives. And being able to introduce someone to someone can have such a profound impact on someone's life. And so I just think, why not? It's easy to do. And I've seen what can come when people connect, whether it's through, of course, romantic, friendship and business opportunities.
And I love that. I find that there are some people who do just have that natural ability to make relationships, to make connections, and they do it beautifully, while
Mhm.
others struggle or they find that there are bits and pieces of it that they're just not good at or are difficult for them. So there's definitely a place for what you do. Which leads me to my next question, and thank you for that. Now, we'd have a tendency in society in general to think of matchmaking as your best friend says, I have someone I want you to meet, right? And there's this blind date at a wonderful restaurant, and you're hoping that it doesn't turn into a disastrous night. But you have taken this to a whole different level. And I love that Luma on your website says this is luxury matchmaking. I'm
Mhm.
that perked my ears up. With that being said, what makes what you do a little bit different than what most people might be expecting from a matchmaking service?
Well, I think nowadays people are so used to being able to go on an app and just swipe, and they have this illusion of so many different options. And what and it's also a lot of times these apps are free. There's or maybe there's a minimal fee involved, so they can just order up a person, or so they think. And when they come to a luxury matchmaker, they may have even tried some of these other services out there that they may call themselves matchmakers, but they're really just dating services where they throw people on a bunch of dates. And it's kind of like I call it discount dating because they're guaranteeing that you'll get dates, but they don't have the real concierge type of service that we offer. And all of our matchmakers are also dating coaches. We have an average tenure of 14 years on our team. So the people that are doing it, I only hire people with experience, and they have, yeah, they just are very this is their career. It's not just a job, just setting people on dates. You know, that's not, they are here to change people's lives ultimately. And so that passion really resonates with them and it comes through to our clients and to our success rate. So we have an over 89% success rate, and our matchmakers maintain an average date rating of 8 out of 10. So I think that's pretty good to, on average, and to be an 8 out of 10 of all the dates that our clients go on. That's pretty cool. So I don't think, I mean, in most places don't even measure that because it wouldn't look good on their part. So we do measure it, and we hold our matchmakers to a high standard, and so they're able to do a great job for our clients.
Oh, I love that you are mindful enough that it's about the experience that the team, that the staff brings. It's not just someone saying, "Well, they both look cute in pink." That it's not just kind of frivolous things, but you're
Right.
really you're doing something that's much more deep than that. Well, let me ask you about that. Now that we have tech and it is involved in so many aspects of our lives, what are some pivotal moments for you when it comes to helping you make decisions or planning? How has tech been an aha moment for you or an assistance in what you do?
Well, there's so many things because, having a good system in place so you can get your metrics, so you can hold people accountable to those metrics. I mean, our compensation to my employees is largely based on their metrics, their performance, especially in today's world where everyone's working remotely. I think it's really important to hold people accountable to some sort of KPI. So I think being able to measure those and have that information is really important. So knowing your numbers is always important for any business. And I had this realization this over the weekend because I was talking to a lady that she is an orthodontist, and she had purchased, or she's using this a marketing firm, but it wasn't just a marketing firm, it was a CRM. It was really like a sales consulting firm. So from everything from marketing, so they run their ads, they do all the like getting reviews from the different patients, and their SEO, all this stuff for their website, all the way through to like understanding the conversion rates and stuff like that. And these are things that, I mean, it took me years to get in place. I didn't have like, they have like a business in a box kind of model that they're able to provide for these orthodontics. And I'm like, that's just amazing. I wish there was something like that. Back when I started my business, I would have been like this and been able to get off and rolling. So because you don't know what you don't know, and when you have tools like that to be able to guide you and like this, these are the things that you should be looking at. I think it can be really beneficial for all kinds of businesses.
Hmm. And you are so right. We have gained so much over the years that for those that have been in business for quite some time, you're able to see the leaps and bounds
Mhm.
that have occurred over time. And you're so right. Having that information, we know that knowledge is power. So having that information is so vital to any business. Now, along that same vein, you have been able to provide a digital experience, if you will, but you've also given your clients a sense of confidentiality and privacy, something that I think I'm pretty sure is important to them. Not having to be on a dating app where everyone has an opportunity to see, all of their stats. With that being said, how do you make sure that that is conveyed to your client base? Do they ask those types of questions? Is that something that is truly important to people, their privacy?
Yeah, anyone that is coming to us, they are definitely going to value their privacy and confidentiality, because a lot of times they are public figures. They may be doctors or business owners, and they don't want to run into one of their employees on a dating app.
Yes.
So they don't want to accidentally swipe right on somebody that they shouldn't. And so they really need that confidentiality. And they're also, they're particular. So they may have like they may want somebody and they don't want that person to want them necessarily for like their success or their wealth. So they want maybe somebody that will get to know them for who they are, and not their maybe reputation out there. So it depends on the client and how much privacy they want to maintain. Some people, they want us to share their photo and information up front, and then others want to go by their middle name, for example. So it just depends, and we can cater to them.
Absolutely. I don't think that people realize the importance of that privacy. Many
Mhm.
times we think private has to mean something bad. And I don't think that people realize just how important people are targeted for various reasons, positive and negatively. So having a platform where they can feel safe and still be able to have that aspect of their lives fulfilled, I think you're doing an awesome thing. As a therapist,
Thanks.
I understand about, you just don't want everyone in the world to realize that sometimes you have utilized a particular service. So I
Mhm.
definitely understand that. Now,
Right.
when we look at purpose and passion, which of course is one of the things that we do here on Passioneer, both magazine and podcast, when it comes to your why, everyone asks that question, right? When we're talking about
Mhm.
entrepreneurial endeavors, what is your why? And I want to ask you, how do you make sure that you stay tapped in, tuned in, balanced when it comes to your why and how that continues to motivate you after all these years?
Yeah, it started with, wanting to do something that I feel like that was fulfilling. I think a lot of people have that goal in mind, right? And do what you love, and then you never work a day in your life, right? And so meeting with people and helping people by introducing them to someone that they can spend the rest of their life with is very fulfilling, and it's also it's just a lot of fun, meeting new people, learning their stories, and just developing those relationships even with our clients, I think can be very rewarding. And by keeping a balance, I mean, like everything you have, especially with a business, it can be a lot of work too, right? And so I think it is important to find that balance, because I used to not have it at all. I used to work from 5 in the morning till 10 o'clock at night every day, and it was really hard. So I think now I've got better, and it helps to be able to hire people that are great and you can trust, and they're going to do a great job. So I think that's been key for me. Is I have a CEO now, and she's amazing, and we are great complements to each other. So we work really well, and yeah, I think that's just it. I found my match in a business partner, so that's been great.
Oh, I love that. And you just gave someone, I think, their aha answer, and that is that you were able to find leadership that you could trust, that you could
Mhm.
depend on to help make sure that your business continues to be all that it could be. So many times, of course, when we're first starting out, we may have to do and wear so many hats and do things, so many things ourselves, and that's understandable. But there does come a time where it's time to branch out and bring on more people onto the team so that you can expand as well. So I think that was definitely a nugget there for someone that goes, yeah, it might be time to change those working hours, like you said, and give someone else an opportunity to help and make sure that our relationship is the best that it could be. Working relationship. I love that. I love that. Well, I'm a firm believer that with every visionary founder and leader of any business, there's always something kind of brewing in the back burner, if you will, that our brains never turn off. With that being said, what are some things that you are looking forward to in the future? Be it that it is near future or many years off, but what kind of has something simmering in the background for you right now?
I think there. is just going to be more and more in demand for what we do. And people think that, oh, AI is going to replace everything, but I think there's going to be more of a need for that human interaction because people have fatigue. There's that whole like social atrophy is going on. They don't know how to talk. They don't know how to have conversations. They're so reliant on their technology. And so getting back to being human, I think, and social, I think there's going to be a big emphasis on that. People they say they want, in-person experiences, but it's so hard to get them away from their devices. They're so addicted to their devices. So I think there's going to be a big need for what we do, and especially the date coaching or just coaching component of it, because people will need to know because they're not dating anymore. There less and less people are dating, and they're more lonely now than ever. And you probably know all about this. And I think that there's going to be more and more demand for that. So finding ways to be able to help people, I think, and getting out to the masses will be huge with this.
Absolutely. And yes, you are so right. We are seeing an incline in people from having the blues to
Mhm.
being clinically depressed because the world has just taken a step a little bit too far in one direction or the other for them. And they do crave that human aspect of things. I think that
Mhm.
that's something that we also kind of touched on or didn't realize pre-COVID is how much we really did like having relationships with human beings that we could reach
Mhm.
out and touch. And when we weren't able to have that, it really kind of slapped us in the face that, wow, I do miss going by and seeing my friends, or being able to get that hug from a grandparent, so on and so forth. So you're right. I think that as we grow and mature as human beings, we realize that the human aspect of our humanity should not be lost to technology. So nothing like a human adding the human aspect to what you're
Yeah,
able to do.
absolutely.
I love that. Well,
Mhm.
April, thank you so much for spending some time with me here today on Passioneer Magazine. Now, I realize that there may be someone out there saying, you know what? I want to learn a little bit more about this. So please, if someone wants to reach out to you, what's the best way to do that?
They can visit our website at lumasearch.com, and Luma stands for luxury matchmaking. So it's LUMA search SEARCH.com. And I invite anyone and everyone to fill out the form on the website, and that way it can be entered into our database. It's our own proprietary, it's also confidential database, so only the matchmakers can see your profile, and we can consider you as a match to one of our clients. And then the matchmakers will reach out to you and set up an appointment to meet with you and see what you really like, not just the profile, and see if we have any clients that would be a good fit, and go from there.
I love it. I love it. Thank you again for being a guest on Passioneer Magazine, the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for listening to Passioneer Magazine, the podcast.